Okay, let's start. I think it's nice that now we see each other, that we shake hands or wave to each other. So I will call your name, and then you. So Monica, will you please raise your hand? From Sweden, and Åsa from Sweden. And then we have Josephine from Sweden. And then from the English group is Sue and Kirsty and Jill and Andrea. And Annelies is from the Dutch group. And the two men are also from the Dutch group, Ruud and Roel. And Meta, she's next door. So very happy to meet again. Cassandra's first time, and Annelies also first time. But that's no problem. So maybe it's, let's start for a few moments with a meditation. And the topic for meditation is that we sit comfortable with our body in a comfortable position. And that we breathe with awareness, and that our mind, our thoughts and our feelings come to rest, which is not easy, but one way to come to rest with the feelings and emotions and all the ways of thinking is that we are aware of them and we ignore them. They arise from our mind and they disappear in our mind as soon as we don't pay attention to them. We don't follow our feelings. We don't follow all the thoughts that arise, be it positive or negative feelings or happy and positive ways of thinking. Whatever rises up in the mind is a distraction from the meditation. So if we ignore them, if we are aware of them, and if we ignore them, they will disappear by themselves, because that is their nature, arising, being there and disappearing. And especially when we do not follow them. So sit comfortable, please. Be aware of the breath and be aware of the stillness inside. Stillness is the peace of mind that is not involved in our daily business. The stillness is beyond feelings and emotions and mental formations. And when you abide in this moment, in the stillness, then your mind can be open and at ease in what is coming in the next hour and a half. And this is what we are now in reality. Next hour and a half, we are free of sorrow, free of daily business, free of worries, and free of happiness. We are just here, abiding in the calmness of the body, the calmness of the breath, and the stillness of the mind, and abide in this meeting to come and already started. That's the only reality that counts. And when you feel some stillness and liberation from daily programs, and you experience the stillness, you can enjoy. Feel the bliss of the peaceful mind always inside. So, okay, thank you. Uh, Thank you for sending in your topics for some of you. And I've added some topics as well, especially on the difference between mind and consciousness and the 3 levels of compassion. Because I felt that in the topics that are here now on the agenda, this might be helpful as well. 3 levels of compassion and the difference between mind and consciousness. But this will unfold in the meetings to come. And also the topics that I've sent to you and you've sent to me, they seem very different from each other. But in the Buddha Dharma, everything is connected and dependent on each other, each topic. So I will try to connect all these topics together in an understandable way. So you just can sit and relax and let me do the job, which is my greatest pleasure. Practicing Dharma and sharing Dharma with others is, let's say, the meaning of my life. So there's no uh, there's no problem whatsoever for me to do this. And of course, you know that you will receive the recording. And for now, I think we can start with the beginning. And the beginning is the question on the Eightfold, the Noble Eightfold Path. And secondly is the mass of suffering. And the Noble Eightfold Path and the mass of suffering is exactly why Buddha Sakyamuni wanted to attain enlightenment. And not only for himself, but to discover what enlightenment is and to share it with all beings wherever in the universe. And he, after his liberation and in his enlightenment, he discovered that the Four Noble Truths are the essence of our life and are the essence of living a peaceful life, living a life in harmony, living a life in kindness and friendliness, and living a life in compassion, not only for ourselves, but for all beings in the universe. So Buddha discovered and explained the Four Noble Truths as the first act after his enlightenment. And in essence, the Four Noble Truths is a way for us to liberation, but liberation is maybe a very vague or complicated concept. So we can say that the Four Noble Truths is the intention of Buddha, that all the pain and the suffering and all the happiness which is passing by, that in this turmoil of change, of happiness and disappointment and unsatisfactoriness of every day, the Four Noble Truths are a recognition of that our life is not always as beautiful as we want it to be, that we are not always as free of suffering as we wish to be, and that the lasting happiness that we desire is not existing. And in this daily life, which we call samsara, where we are searching for happiness and where we are trying to avoid every kind of suffering, Buddha found the Four Noble Truths as the answer to find our way in the difficulties and in the disappointments and in the troubles of our life, and also to sustain the happiness that we can create ourselves in our daily life, was Buddha's aim. So to avoid or to minimize or to deal with suffering and to enhance our happiness in a stable, lasting way was Buddha's intention for all his all his teachings. And the basis of all the teaching, be it the tantric practice, or be it the Mahayana practice, or be it the practice for myself, the basic wish is to give meaning to what we experience in our life, and to give a perspective in the moments or in the periods that we are not aware of that there is a light in the tunnel. That this Four Noble Truths is a perspective of how we can have a stable and meaningful life that goes through suffering, beyond suffering, and that goes through relative happiness to lasting happiness. And I think, or not I, but Buddha thought or was aware of that all beings have this wish to have undisturbed happiness and to have as less suffering as possible. So the first noble, and to begin to explain the Eightfold Path would not be correct if it was not combined or not based in the Four Noble Truths as a whole. So I think some of you are familiar with the Four Noble Truths, I guess, maybe some of you are not. But I feel that this topic is also a very good base for the four meetings. So to live a meaningful life, the first noble truth, and noble means it has the qualities beyond suffering, and noble also means it arises, or it arose from a noble being, which is the Buddha. So noble means it has qualities that bring us high quality of life, gives meaning to our life. That is noble. And noble means it is a reality that is explained by a noble being, which is the Buddha. And Buddha means the awakened one or the enlightened one. So this is about noble. And truth, the fourth truth, means that it is a reality. And reality we can explain or understand as the reality as it manifests in our daily life. So in every situation, in every mood, in every mental formation, which is the thinking and the thoughts, there is the reality as we experience it. So the noble truths are a reflection and an interaction with the realities as we experience them in our daily life. So the first noble truth is what Buddha recognized as the nature, as we all experience it, as it is the nature of suffering. And sometimes Buddhists, non-Buddhists say, you Buddhists, you are always so occupied and possessed by suffering. You are not a very happy, joyful religion. It's not a religion at all. But why always this suffering? And this is where it is a noble truth, because nobody of us can deny that our daily life is not 24 hours a day in a happy mood. I think I don't have to tell you that if you are honest, if you are sincere, then we must acknowledge that our life is not as happy and beautiful and undisturbed as we wish it to be. And so Buddha started with the diagnosis of the essence of our life, with its constant change of a happy being in whatever way we can imagine, and an unhappy being in whatever way we can imagine. So there is constant change of happiness and lack of happiness. And this is what Buddha called unsatisfactoriness. Our life is in basis unsatisfactory because of this change of happiness and sorrow. So, and Buddha explained three kinds of sorrow, or three kinds of suffering. And suffering we can understand as everything that disturbs my inner peace and harmony. So there are countless ways of suffering, but I won't go into that because I think you will recognize. But in short, the definition of unhappiness or unsatisfactoriness is that it is, whatever it is, it disturbs my inner peace and it disturbs my inner harmony. So this is called briefly suffering. And I think for these 4 meetings, we can stick to that. So Buddha diagnosed as a doctor 3 kinds of suffering. And the first suffering is the obvious suffering, the suffering that we experience as such. As soon as I experience or as soon as I'm aware of something that disturbs my inner harmony, then it is called obvious suffering because I am aware of it, I feel it, and I understand it as suffering. And the second kind of suffering is the suffering of change. So we suffer from the obvious things in our lives that cause suffering, like having to an enormous amount of to the tax authorities, or we have to go to the dentist or whatever. This is all obvious suffering, or the pain, or the sadness, or grief. As soon as we are aware of it, then it is obvious suffering. And the second suffering is the suffering of change. And this is basically the greatest kind of suffering, because everything that we experience in our life, as soon as it is happiness, we want to continue our happiness. And we all know that this is not the case. It is impossible in what way or whatsoever to continue our ordinary daily happiness as such. We grasp to suffering, but it is impossible to grasping to something that will be changed, that it will change sooner or later. So grasping to grasping to happiness is in essence our suffering. We want to continue our happiness, and this is impossible. We cannot enjoy happiness without the idea that it must not change. And on the other hand, if there is change, then there are changes that we are wishing and have great desire, because we don't want this suffering. I want to be happy. So there is grasping to the end of suffering. And this is also not possible because we do not know when or how suffering will begin or when it will end. So we cannot grasp to something, we cannot reject something that is arising as a reality. So suffering arises as a reality that we experience, and we want to change the suffering, but that is not so, and therefore we resist the suffering, but we cannot resist the suffering because suffering comes, is there, and sooner or later will disappear. So it is very hard to influence the constant change of happiness and suffering. But the nature of our daily life is this constant change in whatever way. And the problem is, and that is in the second noble truth, that we think that everything that we experience in our life is a reality. Everything that I possess, and the friends that I have, and the enemies, and all the experience in my daily life, we think that it is the absolute reality. So I will come to that. This is the second noble truth. And the third kind of suffering is what is called the suffering of conditioning. or the suffering of unknown patterns of behavior inside that cause all kinds of reactions. So inside in the subconsciousness, or if you are aware of it, the alaya vijnana, the storehouse consciousness, inside our unconsciousness, there are a load of behavioral conditionings that we have created and built up in this life and in previous lives. And these behavioral patterns cause the way we create emotions, the way we create, the way we think in the positive or in the negative way. But we are not aware of that the way I react is in fact an experience in previous situations. And because of this load of learned and conditioned way of reacting, because of what we have learned in previous situations, these unknown, unconscious behavioral reactions that we are not aware of, they cause the way we react in what happens in our daily life. So we do not know them. They are we are not familiar with them. They are unconscious, and still they are the drive and the motor and the cause why we react as we react in the emotional sense and in the mental sense. So in other words, the way we speak, the way we think, the way we react in what the outside world comes from the inside as something that is in our life or in previous life. We have learned to react in this specific way in these specific situations. So you can call this unconsciousness or alaya vijnana. For some of you, you know, this is the storehouse consciousness. So we suffer from patterns that we do not understand and that we are not aware of. This is the third kind of suffering. And this is very difficult for us to deal with because we are not aware of them. We do not know where they come from. So these are three kinds of suffering, briefly. And the second noble truth is that Buddha says, if this is our suffering in daily life, then if we think that this is really happening and reality, then we grasp and we resist to everything that makes us happy or to everything that makes us unhappy. We grasp to happiness and we resist the unhappiness. And this is because of fear, the fear of losing the happiness and the fear of suffering itself. So the basic motive of existence is fear. Fear that I don't want to suffer, and when I'm happy, I'm afraid that the happiness will end. And this grasping and this resistance is a result of what I've said before, that we think that everything that I experience in my daily life, whatever it is really absolutely existent. This is the basic problem why we are reacting in a way of striving for happiness and defending the unhappiness, resisting the unhappiness. It is because we are mistaken in a sense that it is really happening to me, and what I will do is, I will attack the suffering and will destroy it, and I will increase the happiness. So this is the fight for happiness and the meaning of life, to strive and fight for happiness and not wanting to suffering. Because everything that I think or feel or experience inside in relation to the outside world is considered by me as it is true. It is absolutely true, and nobody and me cannot deny it. So this is the second noble truth. We do not really understand, we do not understand the reality of our feelings, emotions, and the way we think and react. So this is and that's why we resist and defend, or why we grasp and attach. So this is the diagnosis, according to Buddha, about the constant flux in our daily life and change of happiness and unhappiness. And that's what we are striving for. So that's a diagnosis, and this is the, let's say, the most optimistic part of the Four Noble Truths, because when we consider this view, these two truths, then it is the blessing of the Buddha that we can escape from these two noble truths, in the sense of the causes, suffering and the causes of suffering, and the happiness and the change of happiness. This diagnosis is considered to be the blessing of the Buddha. And the blessing means, if you understand these views, then there is a relief because of understanding. The greatest kind of suffering is that we suffer and we do not understand, and we do not see a way out. So the Buddha says, if you understand this reality that I've just briefly explained, then this is my blessing, because now you know that this is how it is, so you can find some ease in how reality unfolds in our daily lives. We can find some rest and peace because of the wisdom of understanding. One might say it is a kind of healing of those things in our daily lives that are painful. It is the understanding of why I am experiencing what I'm experiencing. It is being aware of it. It is being mindful of it. But it is also, because of understanding, an option of liberating oneself. So first we have to understand, and then we have the third and the fourth noble truth. The third noble truth is what I've just explained, is what Buddha said. There is a way, there is an option or an attitude in our inner complexity of feelings and emotions and thoughts. There is an option that we are able to liberate ourselves or to find peace, inner peace. Although we are suffering, there is an option of finding stability, finding courage, finding insight, finding wholesome qualities, finding options to ease the pain, and finding options to enhance our happiness. So this is considered, according to Buddha, the meaning of life, to understand and to change our way we think, and to change the way we view our reality. So in essence, what Buddha is explaining in the third noble truth is that all the suffering and all the happiness is arising from me inside as a result of the way I think. So the thinking is, in essence, the view, the understanding. The thinking is, in essence, the problem. We think in the wrong way, we have the wrong view on our reality, and we create thoughts that are not bringing happiness, but are enhancing the unhappiness. So the problem is the vision, the view, the way we think. And in the third noble truth, Buddha says, if we understand this, then we can change the way we think. We can change the way we live our life. We can change our view on reality. We can change the way I think of happiness and unhappiness. And when I change this behavioral thinking, then this is the view for liberation. And not only not liberation, but to find ways of thinking that will maybe healing, or will be healing our suffering, or will take the strength out of the suffering. And if we change our way of thinking, then we can create happiness that is lasting. So, for instance, if we understand that attachment and aversion is not a solution, then we can minimize, or can reduce, or we can work on trying not to grasp to reality, but also not to resist to reality as it is. And the resistance and the grasping is a way of thinking that enhances our suffering. But when we understand that there is nothing to grasp because there's constant change, and when we understand there's nothing to defend because reality will be as it is, either or not I defend myself, reality will be as it is. So if this view, if we understand, then we can deal in harmony with those things that happen in our daily life. As an example. And then finally, there is the Noble Eightfold Path. This is just a very brief explanation of the Four Noble Truths, but it is for the sake of the four meetings that we have. So in other context, I will refer to the Four Noble Truths. And I will send you also a copy of it by email. But the most important is to try to understand our daily life from this point of view. So this is the practice. This is what gives meaning and significance to what we experience, the way we view it, the way we think about it, and the way we can liberate or heal or diminish those things that are causing us trouble. So the practice is to reflect in our daily life and to try to recognize if these three noble truths are really the essence of a reflection of our daily life, what we experience. So again, whatever we experience, especially when it is painful, then we can remember that this is an opportunity for liberation. And it doesn't mean that our problems will disappear, but we can liberate the impact of suffering in our soul or in our mind. This is the meaning of these three noble truths. We can influence ourselves by way of viewing and the vision that we have, or change the way we think. This can transform the painful experiences, or can diminish, or can give peace of mind, even if we are suffering. So even when we are suffering, there can be a peace of mind. So then the practical thing is the fourth noble truth, and this is the Eightfold Path. And this is also briefly what is the Eightfold Path. It has, of course, 8 topics. I will send these to you. And there are 3, or to say, 3 essences that can be our refuge in times of trouble. So there are 3 essences. One is wisdom, one is morality, and one is concentration. So wisdom, I've just briefly explained, is the number one is what is the right view. Buddha explained the Eightfold Path with the right view. And I've just explained the view determines the way we think and the way we act and the way we react. With the right view, we can diminish our suffering. With the wrong view, everything is absolutely true. We enhance our suffering and our disturbances of inner peace. And the second point of the wisdom part of the Eightfold Path. So wisdom is the first group, and from this first group it is the right view. And the second part of wisdom is to, how to say, is that we have to decide for ourselves that if this is true, or if this is what I can understand, the Three Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, if this is in one way or another inspiring me, or maybe it might inspire me, or maybe it might contribute to more inner peace in all kinds of situations, if this is something that inspires us, or that we give some light in the tunnel, or if it gives a certain inner feeling of, yes, this might be very useful or very important in the way I live my daily life, regarding the view and regarding the results. If this inspires me to diminish my suffering and to increase my happiness, then the second part is I have to make a decision. I have to make a decision that this will give me, that this will be the path in my life that I will be try to live. So it's like having a wonderful view on your holiday destination. And when this holiday destination inspires you, then you take all kinds of steps to reach this destination. Right? So that is the view and the resolve, the decision. This is how I will influence and change or support my life for the better. And we will come to that in many examples. And the second part of the Eightfold Path is three, that is morality. And this is the right speech, the right action, or the right conduct, and it is the right livelihood. Maybe you know them, but right speech. And all these three, right speech, right action, or right conduct, and right livelihood, right livelihood means living, earning a living without causing harm. So you have a profession that does not cause harm to myself or to others. And the right speech is the same. The words I speak, the way I speak is honest, the intention is to speak to cause harmony by way I speak. So the way I use my words, I choose my words, is aimed at bringing harmony in myself and the one that I'm communicating with. So this is very nice to practice every day. Every word that I speak can have the intention of bringing harm or unconscious harmony, unconscious intention or a conscious intention. So we have to be very mindful. Every word that I speak must be or must have the intention to create or to be harmonious. This is a very nice way of, because we know that as soon as we speak words that are causing harm to someone else, because, for instance, blaming or insulting, then of course we know that we are not happy. When we speak words of blame, then I am unhappy. And that's why I use these words. But it is also causing harm to someone else who is listening. So this is wrong speech. Right speech is always aimed at use an intention of bringing harmony. And it's also the same with the right conduct. Do not perform deeds that create disharmony in myself and the one that the conduct is aimed at, and also with the livelihood. So this is called the part of morality. That's the essence of the whole Buddha Dharma. Do not cause harm to someone else, or to nature, or to things, or to animals, or to human beings, and towards myself. Morality here is explained as do not cause harm. And harm is very simple. It disturbs the harmony and the inner peace of myself. It disturbs the harmony and the inner peace to the being opposite in front of me. And the last three are concentration. So we have wisdom, the view, and the resolve. We have morality, do not harm by speech, by conduct, or by livelihood. And then what we need is concentration, mindfulness. So what we have to concentrate on, what is right effort. So we have to concentrate on cultivating positive words, positive mind, and we have to eliminate all negative actions of body, speech, and mind. So on that we have to be very mindful and be very alert. This is the struggle, this is the fight, the war that we are so often fighting. And the opposite, now the war is cultivating positive states of mind, be mindful of what I'm speaking of, the way I'm speaking, and in harmony, and to avoid every negative action or negative way of thinking. And the second is, so this is the concentration that we need, and we have to be mindful of it. We have to develop, this is the second one, the right mindfulness, is developing awareness of the body, feeling, and thoughts. So concentration is concentrate on my intentions, as just explained, and the mindfulness is a constant awareness throughout the day, throughout every situation of my life, to be mindful what is happening inside. Am I developing something good, or something positive, or something kind, or something helpful, or am I developing something that is causing damage? And the awareness means it is actually valuable for every moment and every situation of the day. So concentration is focusing, and awareness is unbroken. It should be unbroken. And the last one is the right samadhi, or the right meditation. And this is right, or samadhi, or meditation. And this is actually what the Buddha is inside of us. The aim is to abide in a state of constant inner harmony, inner peace, completely absorbed in inner strength of peace and harmony. It is difficult to explain, but it goes beyond concentration, and it goes beyond mindfulness. Actually, it is a meditative state that we are in, and from that meditative state, all the other things of the Eightfold Path arise. And this is called samadhi. Samadhi is what the Buddha is inside of us. We abide in an undisturbable, unending, undistracted, peaceful state of mind, which is inside of us and in every being. So this is the meditative state that we are in our daily life. And I will come later to that with the difference between consciousness and mind. Okay, so this is the attitude, this is the way we stand in our daily life based on this Four Noble Truths. This is our refuge, this is our strength, this is our happiness, this is our defense in all kinds of causes of suffering. So this is our attitude of living. This is our meaning of life. I use some powerful words to express. But this is the basis that is supporting everything we say, everything we do, everything we think. This is the basis of the meaning of our life. And it radiates in all the things we do, all the people that we meet, all the ways I think. It radiates from these Four Noble Truths. So now the question was, what is right intention? What is right speech? What is this Eightfold Path actually? What is this Eightfold Path? What is a right view, right understanding? What is this reality? What is right speech? So this is briefly explained in this question, for this question. But now the specific question is, I find myself constantly wishing that I did not say things that were well intended, but would have been better not said. So how do we attain right speech? Is this cultural dependent? So I find myself constantly wishing that I've said things that I better could not have said. But my intentions were okay, but it would have been better not to say, because the result with someone else is not so good. I have good intention to speak harmonious words towards this person in this situation, and then one way or another, it does not work out that way. It disturbs someone else. And then I feel sorry that I've said it, although my intention was okay. I feel sorry that myself, I regret that I have said something with a good intention. Is that clear, this question? I mean it well, but it is not appreciated in that way. The effect is not very positive on the other person. And then I feel sorry for myself. Oh, I should not have said it in this way. This was not the right speech. This was not the right intention. And here, this is basically a big mistake in a way of to think like that. It's a big mistake to think that my intention was to be beneficial to this person in this situation. The words I used or I want to use, my intention is to bring peace or harmony, as we explained in the right speech, to bring harmony, but the effect, the result is opposite. What counts here is intention. If the intention is to speak words that are beneficial towards this person in what way or another, then we should stay and be firm in this intention. No matter if this other person is not happy with my intention, this is not important. The importance is that we that we have a wholesome intention, a peaceful intention, not to disturb myself innerly, but also not disturb the other. And this is good karma. This is the intention of love and compassion and respect. It is the intention of not creating suffering, but it is the intention of contributing to happiness. And it would be a big mistake if I afterwards say, no, this was a negative action for myself. Do you understand? Whatever is, in fact, it was, so what we are creating is suffering in ourselves because of doubt, because of someone else. We create suffering in ourselves. I did the wrong thing, although my intention was okay. It was a bad thing to do. So we create suffering in ourselves. Uh, and we transform our good intention into an unwholesome intention. And this is a very stupid thing to do. What important is my intention wholesome? Then I should stay firm in my intention. If someone else is not appreciating my words or my intention, this is not my responsibility in the sense that everybody has its own karma, everybody has its own uh, hidden motives, as I've explained to you, the hidden motives inside why we react as we react. But that is something that we are not responsible of. That is not something that we can have influence on. What people have as karma, what people have as a defense, comes from their own life, from their own habitual patterns, comes from their own defense, comes from their own experiences in life. And that might be the case that they do not understand a wholesome intention. So, but that is not something that we can influence. We cannot have any effect on someone's karma or someone's way why people react as they react, because we have not any understanding of it. It's impossible to understand people for the 100% why they react as they react. It is far beyond our reach. But what we can be in control of is the wholesome intention towards this person. The wholesome intention of right speech is from a harmonious, loving, compassionate intention to bring harmony. And this is what we should value, and this is what we should stabilize, and this is what we should defend as being wholesome. Is that okay? Changing my words in order to make someone else happy, but using, let's say, the other way around could be that I create unwholesome intentions, and then a fight can arise. So we should never regret the wholesome intention, and we should never leave this intention, even if someone else is attacking me because of what I've said. I should never leave or never ignore or never change my wholesome intention, because these are the words of Buddha. If we want to create happiness in ourselves, then we have to use uh, loving and kind and wholesome words. And this is very good for our karma, but it's also very good for our inner harmony. And as we say, I regret what I've done, although my intentions are okay, then we create disharmony and we weaken our training in wholesome speech and wholesome intentions. And we weaken our intention to contribute to harmony in the world. we should strengthen the wholesome intention. And then if someone disagrees or feels attacked, and someone is attacking me, then I have the same intention. If someone is blaming me because of what I've said, then I should stick to my wholesome intention of speech. And if someone is attacking me, then I should stick to finding words that are bringing harmony in this fight between this person and me. I should stick to every word when I'm attacked by someone verbally, to positive and harmonious intentions. And we will come to that later. But there is a story of a student of Buddha, and Buddha gave his teachings, and there was one the student became angry because of the way Buddha gave this teaching. He did not understand, he did not totally agree with what Buddha said, and he became angry and irritated. So he went to Buddha in an angry way and started to blame Buddha because of this unacceptable way of explaining this topic by Buddha. He wanted to insult Buddha by blaming him. And then Buddha remained calm, and the man, the student, this teacher, disciple went away. And after some time, he was thinking and reflecting, and then he felt sorry because of his anger and blaming Buddha. So he went back to Buddha and he said, I'm sorry for that I've caused you pain, that I've insulted you, and I apologize for that. And then Buddha said, you don't have to apologize for me, because I did not feel, because of inner harmony and inner strength, I did not feel any blame inside of myself. There was not something to blame inside myself, because my intention was to create happiness or wisdom by my teaching. So I do not recognize the blame, I do not recognize the insult, because it is not inside of me. There was not intention whatsoever to uh, to blame you or to irritate you. This intention was not at all in my intention. Was your reaction, but inside of me, nothing of the kind was there. So Buddha was not hurt, Buddha was not insulted, Buddha was not becoming angry, because there was not such an intention whatsoever. So this is the power of wholesome intention. It is impossible to be distracted or to be insulted or to be blamed or to feel pain. The ego can, but the intention is the protection against every attack from outside, because it is a wholesome intention. So we should stick to that. Huh? Okay? If it was the wholesome intention, then I am protected against every attack from the outside world. So we should not doubt that. So now there's if you are okay, the next question. To sit and to relax and to calm down or whatever, to find a little bit of chilling, a few moments. So the next question is very closely related to this, and the question was, and I think we will all recognize this, that we all felt very, I guess, very powerless in the period that is still here, but was very violent in the emotional way. What happened in Gaza with the people of Gaza. I don't have to explain that. I think you all know what happened and how we felt hopeless or powerless, and also angry in what happened there. And that is the question. I felt so angry and so hopeless and so powerless what happened there because of all the suffering. And I felt that I could do nothing. And also in my own country, when I started to discuss this situation, then most of the discussion with one person or other persons, immediately a war between these two people arose. There was fight, there was conflict, because the other one was offending, attacking me because of taking position against Israel and wanting the hunger and the suffering and the destruction to stop. And then this other person started to defend and to attack my opinion and my position against Israel. And so there was a fight arising in a verbal way. So even that was a pain, a kind of suffering in between two people in our own country because of something happening outside in another part of the world. So the question was this, and then feeling powerless and feeling hopeless and angry, not being able to do something. And I think we all recognize this. And I think there are some misunderstanding in ourselves of these feelings, the feeling of powerless, the feeling of anger, and the feeling of hopelessness, what's happening there, and being a spectator but not able to do anything against it. And I think this is the wrong view. And there are some arguments for that. The first wrong view is that I'm thinking of that you or me or whoever can change a situation like in Gaza, that one can do something is a wrong view. There are so many situations in the world around us, but also in our family, with our friends, in our neighbors, or at the job. There's so much suffering happening out there in which it is impossible to do something, or in the sense of we cannot solve so many problems in the world. It is impossible. So thinking that we can change many situations of suffering is a wrong view, because the mass of suffering that is happening in the world directly around me or at the other side of the world is so intense and has its own causes and conditions and its own karma and its own escalations. So I think we should be honest that we can change the suffering in the world in the practical sense. And of course, we can make donations, we can send food, we can go as a volunteer and work with help organizations or medical organizations. That's the thing. We can do some practical things, but we cannot bring this whole situation to an end. So first, the inner peace can arise from it is great pain, great suffering, but I should accept for myself that I'm not able to change the whole situation for a complete solution. If that were possible, then Buddha or Jesus or God would already have done so, but we cannot. Huh? So it might bring some inner peace. It is touching me, it's bringing me great pain, but I should find some peace that it is inner peace that is, some things I can do, but many actually I can't do, not so much. And the second way, second wrong view, in my opinion, is, or maybe the right view, I don't know, but it is the suffering of suffering. So let's say I suffer because of the suffering of others. In other words, we should be very clear about what is my suffering, what am I suffering from, and what are, in this case, the people in Gaza suffering from. Do you know? Do you understand? Our own suffering can be a kind of curtain or a projection on the suffering in Gaza. We should try to make a distinction. What is my suffering, my pain, in what is happening there, and what is actually happening there? We should not mix our own suffering or what the obvious suffering. And there are many reasons why we can suffer from the outside world, but we are not always clear that it is my suffering and not the suffering of others. Is that understandable? That we mix our own anger as a projection of my ego, of my soul that is hurt. But that is not the same suffering or cause of suffering that is really related or connected to the suffering somewhere else. So I think we should be honest that this is what I'm suffering from. I have a sleepless night because of what's happening there. But it is my problem at this moment. And I should try to find inner peace because I suffer. Do you understand? Is that okay? In other words, we cannot be compassionate or we cannot be helpful to whoever it is if you are driven by our own pain. We come to that later, several levels of compassion. But the ultimate compassion is free from any inner attachment or inner aversion or inner projection that causes pain in myself. We cannot help others when my own compassion or my own suffering is rising up and is obscuring the pain for others. Then we cannot be of help. Is that okay? The real help for someone else is to try to understand what is happening in this person, in this situation, by empathetic joy, or by bracing oneself, or by listening, or by not judging, or by not becoming angry, not starting to give advice to someone, not giving, having tears from what is the pain inside in myself. The real compassion is free from all inner projection in order to help someone else. Okay, maybe we come back to that later. Then this situation of where the one who asked this question, then there is this fight with the opponents. We start discussing about with some people that I know in my own country, and then some fight and discussion in a nasty way with insulting and anger arose. What should I do in those situations? And I think that it is wrong to discuss with people when the discussion arises anger or whatever negative reactions. If our discussion with other people in different views, and when it arises anger or resistance or insult on both sides, then we should not have this discussion. We should not enter into a discussion that causes negative karma, myself or others. We should not enter into a discussion that causes pain. We should not enter into a discussion that causes suffering in ourselves or in someone else. Because this is not the right speech from the Eightfold Path, and it is not the right intention. But the other way, the next, is we can only listen with patience and free from aversion when we want to create peace. We can only, let us say, it is better and wise and compassionate to start a discussion only when I can listen to someone without judgment, without resistance, without offense, without my own pain, without my own prejudice, and so on. This is the right speech and the right view and the right intention. Just start a discussion with someone when I'm strong enough to listen, to ask questions, not to judge, and when I'm able in a inner peaceful and quiet way can explain my own opinion. This is a good basis, the right intention, the right speech, the right view to start a discussion. And as soon when a conflict arises, I should withdraw, I should stop, because we are creating wrong intention and we are creating unhappiness and so on. Is that understandable? Don't discuss when it causes disharmony. Start discussions when you feel strong enough to create harmony. Better be silent than creating war. So this is also the paramita of patience, but I will not go into the paramis. But in brief, it is the parami of wisdom, it is the parami of patience, it is the parami of benevolence, it is the parami of meditation, and it is the parami of concentration. But it is same as the Eightfold Path. So, in other words, we should recognize that we principally have to fight our inner enemies, our inner disturbing thoughts. And when there's a conflict or disharmony arises, then immediately we should look inside to my motives, to my intentions, and to discover the inner enemies of being hurt, of being not hurt in H-U-R-T or H-E-R-H-E-A-R-D, being hurt or not being hurt. These are the inner enemies, our defense, our aggression, our anger are inner enemies that disturb the inner peace. So this is the first step to recognize as soon as they arise. And then the question is, or an alternative is, I can do nothing. And this, in my view, is also the wrong view. The problem here is that we are very touched, and of course, indeed, very touched by the mass of suffering somewhere else in the world. And we can do nothing about that. And we've been thinking about that. But what we ignore or what we forget is that there is a mass of suffering in myself, that there is a mass of suffering in the person that I love. There's a mass of suffering that the person that I don't like. There's a mass of suffering in my neighborhood. There's a mass of suffering in the sports club or in the Buddhist center or on holiday or in the supermarket or in my country. There is a mass of suffering every moment, every day in the world, inside and around me. And we should not look too much to something terrible that is happening at the other side of the world. Of course, we should be touched by that and by compassion and wisdom. But what we can do is by the Noble Eightfold Path and by our intention is there are many people around us where we can be of help in a very useful way by listening, by supporting, by giving food supply, or sharing the sadness with, or the tristesse in someone else, or encouraging people that have lost their courage, people who are worried, people who are afraid, try to calm them down, or listen to them, or be silent, or encourage them. Do you understand what I mean? There's countless suffering, and there are countless opportunities in a direct connection to others to help others by listening, by support, and so on. So, in fact, we should try to live a meaningful life by supporting one's happiness and by supporting others how to deal with suffering and pain and sadness, whatever that is. And then we have countless situations every day, maybe not countless, but many situations a day where we can be of help and support for others. Not to solve their problems, but to be of help and support directly for me as a person in connection to another person. And this, of course, is the Mahayana motivation. I think you maybe are familiar with that, but Mahayana means I vow to practice the Noble Eightfold Path. I vow to bring happiness and to support happiness and inner peace in myself and others for the benefit of all sentient beings. This is Mahayana. Maha means great, Yana is the way we do it. So this is the possibility of every day, if be it friend or enemy, known or unknown, far or on a long distance, may all beings be happy, may all beings be free from suffering, may all beings live in joy, and may all beings live in equanimity, not disturbed by whatsoever. So this is the Mahayana motivation. By wisdom, equality, equanimity, goodness, friendliness, compassion, support, benevolence, patience, you name it. And then finally, um, um, in Buddhism, it is said that we are belong to the human realm. In samsara, of course, it seems obvious, and we have many a very beautiful life. In fact, there's no war, there's no starvation, there is no there are no dictators. We have freedom of speech, we have freedom of religion, we have a healthy mind, healthy body. It's not all perfect, of course, there are limitations, but we have a lot of freedom, and we have healthy body, healthy mind, a free society. Uh, so this is all the result of our karma. And in Buddhist cosmology, we said we live almost like gods. Uh, We have almost everything that we want. So we have many reasons to be happy because of our wholesome karma. And if we waste our wholesome karma, as I've just explained in many ways, or if we do not build up the heap of good karma in many ways by the Eightfold Path, or like I've just explained, then our wholesome karma slowly will diminish. We are not building up heaps of wholesome karma for this life and next life, but we are uh, consuming the good results of our good karma from this life or previous lives. We are enjoying our life, but we are not uh, helping the society with inner peace and other means, as I've explained. We are not responsible, we are not taking responsibility for our good karma, and we are not taking responsibility to help every sentient being that comes in my consciousness. So in this way, we are diminishing and consuming our wholesome karma. So this is another opportunity, another argument. In Gaza, we cannot build up many great good karma. We cannot do that. But we can build up by love and compassion and so on in the direct environment in connection to others. Because we have a good life, good country, so we should use this opportunity to be for benefit for all sentient beings. And this is a Mahayana. Okay, quite a story. Eh? So these were two questions, and maybe I've been talking a lot, but when there are questions, then one must be polite and give answers. But this is also the basis for the other topics to come. So that's why I took my time to answer these two questions. So shall we sit for a few moments and shall we reflect on may everything that I intend in my body, speech, and mind, may everything that I intend, may it be arise from inner peace and harmony, and may it be beneficial for everyone that arises in my mind. And so please abide in may all my intentions of body, speech, and mind arise from inner peace and compassion, and may it bring harmony and happiness to every being that arises in my mind. Okay, thank you. So I hope that you like to reflect on the Eightfold Path and on the right, and to practice in daily life your intentions, your right intentions, and your right mindfulness, and so on, to create happiness wherever you can for yourself and others. Okay, see you later. Thank you.
Congrats.